Straight ahead on 12 News, what's in a name?
Daily we would hear people that wanted to buy a coffee maker, they wanted to buy a cookie sheet.
The reason behind a Plymouth restaurant's name change. Then, is it a lake or a meadow? How New Hope residents aim to take back the lake. But first, at a hearing in Brooklyn Center, residents weigh in on a proposal that would significantly increase electric bills. 12 News starts right now. Hello, and thanks for joining us. You may soon have to pay more for electricity.
Xcel Energy is requesting a 2-year rate increase. If it's approved by the state, customers would pay about $120 more per year. Delane Cleveland was at a public hearing today in Brooklyn Center. Delane, what are folks saying about this proposed increase?
Well, Mike and Alex, Xcel Energy says it requested the rate increase in part to offset the cost of providing energy that's more environmentally friendly. But people opposed to the hike said their bills were high enough and they were more concerned about their ability to make ends meet.
I'm sure they're a profitable organization, and I think that they could take that profit and feed it right back in and do all the improvements that they would like. I'd like them to be efficient also, but I think they can be efficient with their own money, not mine.
Several dozen people, many of them seniors on a fixed income, packed into the Earl Brown Heritage Center. If the rate increases were to go into effect, residential customers would pay about $4 more a month the first year and an additional $6 a month the second year. Officials from Xcel Energy expressed confidence that the rate hikes would go into effect.
Well, we expect that an increase will be granted because we think we've put on a solid case that shows these were good investments for our system. Certainly we recognize that in cases you don't necessarily get everything you ask for, we'll make adjustments to our business based on what the Commission's final decision is.
More public hearings will take place throughout the week at different locations around Minnesota. The Minnesota Public Utilities Commission will make its decision on the rate hikes in early 2015. Mike?
All right, thank you. A Brooklyn Center woman took part in a White House summit today on working families. Gloria Coles was in Washington, D.C. to discuss issues like paid time off and expanding paid family leave. Coles is a member of Take Action Minnesota, which works for economic equity. She said her special focus is on compensating people who care for ailing or elderly family members at home.
People such as myself who have taken time out of the workforce to care for others should not be penalized for the choices they have made to make their families first. Families should have earned sick time. If a person steps out of the workforce in order to care for their loved one, instead of having their loved one go into a nursing home, they are stepping up to the plate.
In Minnesota, personal caregivers of family members can be paid through Medicaid, but there are no benefits for sick time or retirement. A no-wake rule remains in effect for boaters on Medicine Lake.
Last week's rainstorms dumped several inches of rain on an already saturated area. Sonia Goins is live in Plymouth with more on a rare sight for homeowners. Sonia?
Hi, Mike and Alice. Let me show you something here. You see this pond? It's about 1.5 feet higher than it normally would be. Well, the waters from this pond actually feed over here into Medicine Lake. And then the waters in the Medicine Lake eventually feed into the Mississippi River. It's a long, tedious process. Officials say it's just going to take a while until the waters go down.
Wait, it's high.
Heidi Heim's property backs right up to Medicine Lake.
This is right up there as being one of the highest I've ever seen.
As the water rises, Heidi's shoreline is getting smaller.
Typically, these neighbors have a little sandy beach. So I would say there's a good 5-6 feet of sand before it hits the rocks.
About 4 inches of rain fell on Thursday, and with more rain on the way, Heidi is concerned.
I knew it was going to come up high, I just didn't know how high.
She's not the only one keeping an eye on the water levels on Medicine Lake.
The high water level is 889.4 feet.
On Friday, the cities of Plymouth and Medicine Lake imposed the no-wake restriction. That means boats will have to go slow.
And as soon as it goes below 889.4 for 3 consecutive days, the order comes off.
You don't have the loud noises of the boats and the waves, and it's kind of nice. It's peaceful time on the lake.
West Medicine Lake Beach is also downsized due to the recent downpours.
I've never seen it this high. I mean, the water's all the way up to the lifeguard, and I've not ever seen that.
Meanwhile, people out on the lake are enjoying the warm rays, hoping they don't get too much rain.
Let's hope this goes down quickly so that we have room for more rain.
Now, the no-wake restriction could stretch into the 4th of July holiday. Officials say they really don't want to do that, but they must protect the shoreline. In Plymouth, Sonia Goins, 12 News.
All right, thank you, Sonia. Well, now to another lake issue, this one a green, mucky one.
Some New Hope residents say Meadow Lake is more meadow than lake. Here's 12 News reporter Carissa Wyant.
Well, it's kind of scummy, isn't it?
It may be one of Minnesota's 10,000 lakes, but New Hope's Meadow Lake isn't exactly the best visual example of the state's famous sky blue waters.
We've been here for about 22 years, and it began getting cloudier and more sick over that amount of time. It will take a long time to get it restored.
Neighbors tell us that there's an ongoing joke in the neighborhood. They like to say that the lake's actually called Meadow Lake because in the summer, it's just as green as a meadow. A group of neighbors living along the lake got fed up. They formed the Meadow Lake Watershed Association to improve the water quality.
It's always had a lot of algae in it in the summertime.
Residents are planting specific plants to slow soil erosion in what they're calling the Adopt a Plot program.
The idea with native plants is that they put down deeper roots and help hold the soil better than many of the invasives do.
These volunteers know it's not an easy problem to solve. Several factors are affecting the lake.
Leaves and grass clippings and things that people let get in the street all wind up in the lake.
It's also the runoff from the lawns that contributes to the pollution and the sickness of it.
But neighbors are committed to restoring the lake and beautifying the shoreline.
We do hope to improve water quality anyway by instituting good practices.
We have a wonderful neighborhood, and it's exciting to get to know our neighbors and to cooperate together in this kind of venture. Feels good.
In New Hope, Carissa Wyant, 12 News.
The city of New Hope provided $5,000 from its storm water fund to pay for the purchase of plants and other materials for the project.
Hy-Vee and New Hope have agreed on a price for the former Kmart site, and the City Council could approve the deal tonight. Under the agreement, Hy-Vee would pay about $3.7 million for the 13-acre Kmart site. Construction on a Hy-Vee grocery store and gas station would have to start by next June. The city hopes to close the deal by September. And since the Hy-Vee store would include a restaurant and liquor store, New Hope is reviewing its liquor ordinances.
Maple Grove's Beyond the Yellow Ribbon team hopes to provide a taste of home for soldiers far away. Collection bins are set up at the community center and the Maple Grove Police Station. They're taking donations of personal hygiene items and non-perishable snacks that will survive a trip to Afghanistan. They're looking for anything that reminds Minnesota National Guard soldiers of home.
Whatever you think that somebody would like that's between 18 and 35 that you think they'd really like to have from missing home.
For a list of needed items, check out the Maple Grove Beyond the Yellow Ribbon Facebook page. Coming up next in Business Matters, a Plymouth restaurant undergoes a major makeover.
Then later in sports, the top high school baseball players compete in an all-star baseball tournament.
But first, the risk of more thunderstorms continues this week.
You may have heard the saying, give the customer what they want.
And a Plymouth restaurant is doing just that, changing their name and their image. In this week's Business Matters, the story of why Eat Shop in Plymouth has now become Digby's.
Once I figured out what the neighborhood really wanted, we changed.
When Michael Larson opened Eat Shop 2 years ago, he thought Plymouth needed an upscale restaurant.
When Eat Shop opened, we had wine glasses on the table, wine displays on the wall. The menu read as maybe a little serious.
The colorful mural on the wall is a strong signal this is no longer that place.
And there's animals and cheese and broccoli floating on a balloon. That's kind of fun. Can't be too serious when you've got, a chicken dropping eggs like he's a bomber.
After opening a new restaurant in Roseville this spring called Digby's, Michael Larson realized that's what Plymouth wanted too.
They wanted something more family friendly.
A casual neighborhood spot for burgers, pizza, and craft brews. Executive Chef Jeff Anderson is heading up the menu change in Plymouth, which now includes a variety of burgers, but also Neapolitan pizzas, too.
We're not trying to be anything crazy, not trying to be anything, out there. It's just stuff that people love, stuff that people recognize, and we just feel like we can do it better than most people are doing it right now.
One name change later, Digby's Plymouth
This is our private dining space.
now includes a reservable room for parties and groups, and owner Michael Larson hopes the Digby's name change alleviates the confusion some customers had with the Eat Shop name.
The word shop to them meant it was a retail space, and daily we would hear people that wanted to buy a coffee maker, they wanted to buy a cookie sheet, they were looking for a certain olive pitter.
The Digby's tagline now says it all, giving customers perhaps what they wanted all along.
People will come out, they'll give it a shot again, but we have to deliver.
Digby's Plymouth is located at the corner of Highway 55 and County Road 24. Coming up, a sighting of your favorite superhero in Brooklyn Center.
But first, the nation's top men's softball team slug it out at the Dudley-Budweiser Classic in Brooklyn Center. John Jacobson has that when we come back. Well, they managed to find a dry field and some pretty good weather for a high school all-star game.
You know, as wet as June has been, Friday and Saturday was beautiful. It was a great weekend for some very good baseball. Current twins Glenn Perkins and Joe Mauer were roommates at the then Lions All-Star Baseball Tournament as recent graduates in 2001. The event, now known as the Playball Minnesota Tournament, celebrated its 40th run this weekend. The North All-Stars from northern Minnesota played the Metro West Friday evening. Highlights from this one. Metro West gets out to a first-inning lead thanks to this blast by Delano catcher Toby Hansen. He drives it over the fence in right center field for a 3-run homer and a 3-0 lead after half an inning. North comes back in the bottom of the first to score twice. Chris Olson of Duluth East singles to left. Jeff Fashing of St. Cloud Cathedral scores, and it's 3-2 after 1. Champlin Park pitcher Brandon Rushmeyer settled down after allowing those 2 first-inning runs. He retires the final 8 batters he faces in 3 innings of work. Alex Boxwell of Coon Rapids has been a good hitter in the Northwest Suburban Conference the past few seasons, and he unloads to right center in the 5th, delivering a 2-run homer, and that makes it a 5-2 game. In the 6th, Metro West gets one more. Keaton Studsrud of Benilde St. Margaret's sends one deep to center, over the center fielder's head into the wall. Sheldon Mix of Shakopee scores on Studsrud's triple, and it's 6-2. That's more than enough for Metro West pitchers, who strike out 12 North batters in the game, and they win it 6-2. The tournament annually wraps up with the 2 Metro teams playing Saturday evening. They each came in undefeated in this year's tournament, making it the championship game. Another great night for baseball in Chan for the Metro West versus Metro East game, 5th inning. Metro West Kyle Lynch of Bloomington Jefferson goes the other way and sends it over the left field fence for a solo home run. Lynch's homer puts West up 3-2. Tied at 3 in the 7th inning, West tries to retake the lead, but Metro East right fielder Joe Moline of East Ridge makes a great catch, taking away a hit and ending the West inning. Then in the bottom of the 7th inning, with a runner at second, Luke Berry of Simley grounds a single to left. Ed Olson of Egan, who went 3 for 3 in the game, slides in with the winning run. Olson is named the tournament MVP, and Metro East wins in dramatic fashion, 4-3 over Metro West. Like All-Star Baseball, the 32nd annual Dudley-Budweiser Classic men's softball tournament had to deal with some venue changes because of recently flooded fields at Centennial Park in Brooklyn Center. In addition to the big national powers, some local teams get to take their shots at the Dudley. Outpost Extreme Graphics of Champlin, meaning Fully Loaded of Ramsey. Jeff Semling with a solo shot to left for Outpost. They get 2 in the top of the 1st. Fully Loaded answers, Corey Dexter with a base hit up the middle. Shayton Kolsdorf comes around to score from second, and it's 2-2. Still in the bottom of the 1st, Rico Pasley with a grand slam to center. And they score 8 in the 1st inning to lead it 8-2. Fully Loaded keeps hitting in the 2nd. Justin Verdick with a grand slam to make it 15-2 after a 7-run 2nd. And then Outpost trying to get back into it later. Kyle Charbonneau with a base hit to center. Travis Auld shows his speed to score from second base on this play in the 4th. Ryan O'Connell launches a 3-run shot. Outpost gets 7 in the 4th, but they fall in the first round, 28-12. Now, the championship Sunday turned into a 2-game battle between two of the nation's best major clubs. Defending champion and second-ranked Resmondo Specialty Tank Worth of Florida met top-ranked Laser Vision of New York State. In the 6th inning, Laser Vision's Kevin Philby tags a liner that clears the fence and right. They pull within 44-38 on the 3-run shot. Bottom of the 6th, Don Anitas with a base hit to left center. Jeremy Yates scores. Resmondo gets 5 in the inning to lead it 49-38. Laser Vision makes it interesting with a good 7th. Mike Umscheid hits one to the ground, the fence in right. 2-run score, but Resmondo holds on for a 49-45 win, and that forces a second game. In game 2, they look for a sweep. Louis Reyna helps Laser Vision get off to a good start with a liner for a 3-run homer. Laser Vision scores 9 runs in the top of the 1st. Not exactly a comfortable lead, though, when these teams play. Bottom of the 1st, Bubba Mack III with a high fly that gets out for a 3-run homer. Resmondo just getting started. Still in the 1st, Nick Santana launches one to right center for another 3-run homer for Resmondo. Same inning, George Connell gets in on the fun. His high drive, fittingly enough, clears the Dudley sign. Resmondo scores 23 runs in the 1st. Not a lot of upside to being a pitcher in this one. Resmondo keeping the bashing going in the 2nd. Mac homers to center. They score 40 runs in the first 2 innings and went 42-23 to make it 5 straight Dudley titles.
Like
That's a pretty good club.
Slugfest out there.
Very much so, yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sean.
Thank you. Still ahead, a chance to find out if your favorite superhero is in really good shape.
We'll be right back.
All right, everyone, on your mark, get set, go!
The very first run, jump, or fly 5K fun run was held this weekend in Brooklyn Center. The event supports Special Olympics Minnesota. Runners were encouraged to wear their favorite superhero costume. And speaking of heroes, this particular Special Olympics event was sponsored by Brooklyn Center Police.
So we're very fortunate that departments across the state support us with events like this, whether it be a plunge, a 5K, Cop on Tap, Tip a Cop. They're out in the community raising money and awareness for Special Olympics Minnesota.
And they were able to raise about $5,000. That does it for us.